What's up guys, this is Mesto and I'm back again with another tutorial, and today I'm gonna explain my track together with Aloe Blacc called Don't Worry. And I think it's very funny to show you guys how this track came to life and how everything started with this, because Aloe Blacc is like a legend to me and I think for many other people. So I was very happy and honored that I was able to work with him. And yeah, I'm just gonna show you the process and of course the project itself. So basically what I had is like an idea which was stuck in my head for a couple of weeks, like the chord progression, which is a bit different than the final version, but you can hear where it comes from. So it all started with these chords. So this was in my head for a couple of weeks, and I was touring China at the time, so I had this melody stuck in my head and I was singing this melody on top of it, which sounded like this.
Why are you in the darkness? There's no need to worry, no need to worry.
And I'm gonna mute the vocal after that because it's gonna be horrible, but you can hear like what the idea was, and I'm just gonna play the whole thing. It's very different than the final version, but this was the first idea, and yeah, I thought it was funny to show you guys this, because every idea starts with something maybe different than what it sounds like in the end. So what I did is basically I sent this to the writers. I sent my vocal with it as well, and I just said like, can you guys glue this together vocal wise and lyric wise? And so they did, and I think almost one day after that I received a new one with their voice. Maybe it's funny to show you guys what I received.
I know you must be tired.
You can hear a few similarities.
Oh, I need you to remember, whenever the sky falls, you don't have to worry.
So yeah, that's what I got back. Really liked it, but the idea I had in the first place was to have Aloe Blacc on this one. So I thought, okay, I need to have something good and like a good thing I can send to him, so if he hears it he can immediately think, okay, I want to do it or I don't want to do it. And so I got the vocals from the other guys, did some things on the production which sounded more like the production it is nowadays. Then he suddenly replied. I just sent it to him via Instagram DM. Yeah, he replied and he liked it and he said, okay, let's do it, I'm gonna send you the vocals soon. He changed the lyrics. Yeah, like he wrote the second part of the track. He did an amazing job. I really loved it. And then I just kind of finished the production, and that's how it came to life. But I'm gonna dive into the real project right now and show you guys everything. So right now I have the real project. I think it's funny to show the chords first, because those are mostly like how the first version sounded, but then in a different key and some notes changed. And I'm just gonna take the effects of the piano. Yeah, those are the chords. Added a few effects on there, such as CLA 2A stereo from Waves to compress it a little bit. Those effects are not switched on. RC20 Rator color, which is really cool. For like, I added some wobbling on there, and it makes it like feel a little bit old or something, which is really cool. I can play it with and without for you guys. Without it, it sounds like this. And with it, it sounds like this. Maybe if I turn it a little bit up, you can hear it more. It's a really cool plugin. I use this a lot for everything, almost. Then some EQing. I don't know why I did that, but I did it on like playing on my ears. sidechain for the second part, which is automated, and a filter for the first part as well, which filters from high cut to open, basically. So that's how it sounds. In the beginning, there's not much going on. Only like an arpeggio I found in a pack or something. And I just relooped it. Yeah, just the arpeggio, and I added some snaps to give it those swingy feel, and that's basically it. And a hi-hat. That's the first part with the vocal, of course, and this is the vocal how you guys know it.
I can hear in your voice that you've been lost in a dark place for too long, and I know that you're tired.
Also in the build-up, basically from the piano, I automated the aggressiveness of the piano playing, if that makes sense. So you have this button in contact where you can adjust the hardness of the piano, and I automated that to give it more a realistic feel and vibe. So sometimes it gets harder and sometimes it gets more mellow.
Know that you're tired, but you can't stop now, so please hold on. Just carry on.
At that part, the piano is really playing at its hardest, as you can see at the automation here. And the sidechain here comes in, and I added a bass in there, like a sub. I don't know if you can hear it if you listen on your phone. And a kick, very simple kick. It's just a kick from Greyhound. Some percussion. And this is the piano. Some snares to build it up. And the snares automated pitch. You know this one? Yeah, that's what's going on. And then it builds up to this epic moment. That's what I had in mind. And then it all falls down again, and that's where Aloe Blacc is singing really high. So I turn back the music basically, but he gets up.
I need you to remember, whenever the sky falls, you don't have to worry. If it feels like nothing gets better, I'll be there to guide you. You don't have to worry.
So yeah, I thought it was really cool to shut it all down again and really pay the attention to his voice. Right there I have just only a clock ticking sound. I think I got it from YouTube or something. And here I have these pad chords from Silent. And they just play until the drop hits. And I automated them with the cutoff as well, so they go open throughout the build-up. Oh yeah, and I've got these dreamy piano, we have the contact piano in the beginning, but after that I'm playing with the Labs piano, which is a free plugin. It's really cool. I think I showed it in a few other tutorials as well. But I just played this dreamy chord vibe. A lot of reverb and very dreamy, you can't really get a hold of what's going on over there, but it's very dreamy. And they come in with the automation volume. And I got this epic orchestral hits. And I really like that, just to make it a little bit big. And we got this, which really lets you hit in the moment. I really like this. I use it a lot. And then we have a vocoder going on which plays the chords as well, with Aloe's voice. Which just plays underneath the real vocal, just to boost it up a little bit and make it a bit more electronic. You don't even hear it that loud, but it just adds something. And then after that, this part starts, which is basically also a vocoder, but then just playing with one note. And that sounds really almost like Daft Punk, but different. And I was very insecure about this part first, but I decided to keep it in because it makes the track a little bit more unique, I think. Yeah, that's also when the build-up basically starts with claps, and then after that the snares come in. We've got a bass going on. And this is in silent, made it from an init, very simple bass. It's just a little plug playing the melody of the vocal just to boost it up a little bit. Chords are playing, but then they're automated with the filter, of course. Yeah, then you got the claps. Epic claps with a lot of reverb. Yeah, that's basically what's going on. And then after that you have the snares, of course, which are a few build-ups placed underneath each other and a few single snares. All from Splice, I think. Like, I don't know why I layered so many, but I just use my ears, I guess. Yeah, everything kind of opens up. And then the vocal comes in again. And then basically we are at the drop. You have this little fill, of course, which is this. Very simple, 2 samples. Don't know where I got them from, but that's basically it. And then we are at the drop. I'll just play the first part for you guys and then start explaining layer by layer what everything is and why I did it. That's a drop. There are a lot of layers in this drop actually, and it really took me quite long to be happy with it, the way it sounds right now. I felt like it was missing something the entire time, but I think I found it. So yeah, I'm just gonna show you layer by layer what it is. So this is the sub. And yeah, it's just a sub. I cut all the high frequencies out, so it's just a sub with the air bass from Waves, boosted on 53 to make it more warm in that frequency. Sidechain, of course, Nick Romero. Then we have the main lead, which I made in silent. I just made it silent. It's just a saw and some distortion and some white noise. And if the white noise and the saw distort with each other, it becomes this crunchy thing, which is really cool. So I've got a bunch of effects on this lead. I'll show you without. So it sounds very dry without. But it's not very different. I just added some blood overdrive, which gives it a bit more color always, but you should be very careful with how much you add because it can like distort very fast. Then I cut the low frequencies, added a little bit of chorus, but not that much, just to spread it a little bit, because otherwise it was like one straight note. P controller to control the reverb, but I don't think it's on. Dimension Expander is a free plugin to make it wider, bigger, I don't know. Valhalla Room for the reverb, another reverb from Fruity itself, and Grow Speed, which is a very short sidechain I always use. So then you hear the idea already. And then I added this layer, which I think sounds a little bit like Z, so I called it Z. It's in Synth Master, and it plays different notes, but it creates this little harmony, I think. If you hear it like this, it sounds very random, so. But if you hear it with everything, it sounds like this. No, you don't even hear it. It just gives it like a little crunch. Then we're scrolling down and we have a few other layers. All these layers are very ugly if you hear it by themselves, but they all add their own little thing, which makes it a little bit better, I think. And this one. And at the end of the drop you have this chords. I'll show you, which I think is really cool. Those are 3 layers. The chords are 3 layers in silent. Just inner presets I made. I think it's a saw with a little bit of white noise, and this is a more detuned sound, I think. Yeah, more crunchy, more detuned. Even more detuned and crunched, but yeah, together they create this cool thing, I think. And of course the bass, which I made in silent as well. I'm a very big silent fan because it's so easy to use. This is just a sine and some white noise distorted together. And then we have some chords. Which played the whole drop long, just to give it a bit more color as well. You don't hear it that good, but they definitely add something. And one more layer for the last part, which is just a synth in Synth Master. Yeah, that was like the first pattern I made. I made the whole idea in one pattern. I love to do that because you can immediately hear in the pattern how it's gonna, like what it's gonna sound like. And yeah, so after that I started adding stuff until I was satisfied with how it sounded. I added these bass shots, which I made in Massive, I think, and then exported them and then took them back in the project and pitched them weird. It sounds like this. It's a trick I learned from Brooks. I think a lot of you guys do that as well right now, and it really boosts up. It really can boost up a track if you add these things. And another bass. A very distorted, saturated bass sound with a little bit of attack. A kick, of course, from Splice. I really like this kick. It's almost like the standard FL kick, but then a little bit different and better, I think. Some effects, claps, another clap, more effects. Oh, and I played this like crackle white noisy thing the whole drop long just to fill it up. It may seem very weird and I don't know why I did it, but it really spiced it up a bit. This is playing the whole drop long. Maybe it's making it a bit messy, but I really like how it sounded with, and I really heard the difference between it when I didn't turn it on and when I turned it on. More claps. More claps. Some reverse shots. I really like to do that because it spices up your drop immediately and you can automate those volume things very nice, like a wave, so it makes like triplets or something. A stuttery effect. And yeah, reverse things all over the place. Just random stuff. I filled this up all after I had the first idea. So right now it sounds very random, but I think in the whole idea it sounds, yeah, better if you hear it with and without. Very ugly synth as well, but it spices it up a little bit more. Some horn shots. Oh, and I added some white noise or some noise which plays the same rhythm as the melody, just to spice it up more. Oh yeah, and then I thought, okay, it's missing like a really melodic sound or something, so I added, I think maybe two really cheesy sounds to it. And if you hear it right now like this, it sounds so shitty, but I think with everything it really added something. But right now it sounds very cheesy. So it's a piano and like this vocal shot in Nexus. A pluck, which is just a sample, and another ugly layer, but it all combines to something bigger, I think. So those are basically the sounds in the drop, I think. And then you have this part, which is the synth, but then filtered down with a bit more reverb, and the fill again, and the piano again, which plays in the break as well. And then the second part of the drop starts, but there are just a few hi-hats, which are just loops. And I added this whistle in the second part. Which is in silent. Yeah, that's basically the drop. And then you have the second break, which isn't very different as the first one, but I really want to show you a few things in here. I exported these stems because the project became too big, but I'll just show you the stems. This is how it sounds. So yeah, you got like this clap snare thing, a little kick with I think a hat on there, filtered down, piano, sub, I made that in silent as well, and the violin RP. These sounds are made in Nexus. And there's like this ARP thingy building up in there. And some reverse piano things, because I really like when the piano plays, like after that it reverses and comes back again. It sounds like this. So yeah, that's the second break, and then after that you get to this big part again. And I changed a few things here. I recorded a real guitar, which I recently bought. I'm not a very good guitar player, but I just played 2 notes into this microphone and like messed around with effects and stuff. And it sounds very, like it's not perfect timed and stuff, but I think that makes it a little bit more humanistic or something. Like, it sounds like this. And I just added some RC20 retro color to distort it a little bit, and I did the CLA 2A on there to compress it more, Valhalla reverb, and some EQing. But it sounds very rough, but I really like it in the track itself, just to make it a little bit different than the first one.
I need you to remember, whenever the sky falls, you don't have to worry.
So I think that was already everything, and I hope you liked watching it. I hope you learned something. I had a lot of fun doing this, and please let me know what you guys want to see next time, because I'm planning to do a bunch more of those videos. So just let me know in the comments what you want to see, and I hope to see you soon.